Okay.
Hello friends, it's Michael Wolf here at Wolf Customs in Neosho, Missouri, and I have the lovely Tricia behind the camera. She's my camera woman today. I'm so thankful for our friendship. So anyway, thank you, Tricia. I've had some messages like, where are you at? What are you doing? I mean, I haven't posted for a while, and you know, I've been kind of low, and those of you that really follow me, you know I go through these low spots, and sometimes I'm not really inspired to do anything. And I was going to work on the Chevy, and then I was like, man, there's no way I can get it to SEMA. So I thought maybe I'll revise the VW, kind of make it more current, more relevant, more trendy, and maybe I can take it to SEMA. So that's a work in progress. I don't know if I'll be going or not. And now the deadline's passed for a feature vehicle spot. Anyway, but let me fast forward, quit yapping, and talk about the changes I'm making. So I'll start out with some sheet metal changes. I wanted to do like something kind of funky and have a headlight in the hood. And so this is a black oak curved 20-inch light bar, and it sits back just a little bit further. It's not, right now it's not bolted in. So, and the hood that was on it had 1,000,000 louvers in it, not actually 1,000,000 louvers, but close. And I wanted to preserve that hood and just hang it up because it's a beautiful hood. So I started with another hood, and it was rougher than a cob. Would that be rougher than a corn cob? I don't know. It had all the dings in it, so maybe. But anyway, I made this recessed area, and you know, I've got the shape, and I was going to do something different here on the corners. That's why the edges are really rough, but don't look at that because it's not ready yet. So let me take this light bar out because I don't want it to fall, and put it over here. And let me get my hood prop rod. These make great hood prop rods. No, it's, anyway. And this hood is heavy now. Well, it's not as heavy as the last hood. I guess there's something about putting kitty hair in it. But here's the thing. It's like when I drove it last in the previous version, and I got up to interstate speed like 75, 80, it always felt kind of light in the front end. So I built stuff a little overkill and deliberately put a little weight back in it. Anyway, so let's go to the front suspension, because obviously this is not a Volkswagen Beam. One of the things that I was really not upset, but never quite happy about with the first version of the VW was the Beam. And I went to great lengths to dress it up. I cut all the pinch welds and re-welded them and worked over them. I made like these really cool headlight perches. Jimmy made some stainless steel inner tie rods, and we put it on, and it always bothered me because it just looked like two tubes with some suspension sticking out back. And for those of you who know, on the Volkswagen, the rear suspension is really, really trick. It's a double A-arm IRS with coilovers. So anyway, I wanted to do something different, and I found the C5 Corvette A-arms, spindles, rotors, and calipers on Facebook Marketplace 3 weeks ago. And you know, of course, Corvette stuff is aluminum. It's pretty. I can polish it or whatever. And it gives me these enormous brakes. And I wanted to try something I've never tried ever before. And I wanted to make a cantilever coilover system. So one of my challenges I had was like the suspension was so forward on the car, like if I made a wishbone type A-arm, I didn't have anything to secure this top part. And since I try to work things on somewhat of a budget, I try to use things that I have laying around the shop. And so this is very unconventional, but I actually, Jimmy had these hubs on the shelf. They're for a trailer, and he had the machine part of the axle cut off, and they had a flat flange welded on them. And so I cut that flange off, and then in the last few weeks I have been working with the metal lathe, and I think Jimmy would be super proud of me for doing that. But I was able to machine off the back of the rough cut on the piece of the spindle, and then the hub, I went in and I cut all the casting, you know, the grain off the casting, and made it shorter. I'm going to radius these corners. That's the last thing I need to do. And then we had some scrap pieces of elliptical strut tubing. That's what Jimmy called it. Strut tubing, I don't know what that is. But anyway, it was 1/8 inch wall. So, and I thought, well, that looked pretty. And I made a bracket with the burn table. And again, everything's cut a little heavier than it needs to be, but I'd rather be safer than sorry. And basically, this is the fulcrum. And I've got this elliptical that comes out here. I have a solid rod end here, and I still need to make a bushing for the inside of this to make it to match the taper of the Corvette ball joint. The lower control arms, I just made all these brackets. I made a post last week or the week before that I had a PhD in bracketology, or I was a bracketologist. Yeah, that's what. Anyway, so this part here bolts in. Real trick. I put sleeves through the frame rails with nuts, and it's secured very well. And I didn't have to really do anything to my front frame rails. I had to cut away some material that I had the beam mounted to. But anyway, it works, and there's plenty of adjustment. The Corvette, the upper A-arms are, or from what I could tell, there's no adjustment out here for like the camber, but I do have adjustment for the camber, and the Corvettes had slotted brackets at the bottom, I guess, to adjust the camber and the caster. So I made my bracket slotted, and so it's got a world of adjustment. And then finally, I wanted my rack and pinion in the back. So of all things, I used a rack out of a Saturn because it's front-wheel drive, and front-wheel drive cars have rear steer. In other words, the spindle points backwards. And then, of course, with the Corvette, I swapped the spindles so they'd point backwards. And someone made a comment about my angle here. Make sure my angle's right. Yeah, I researched all that. It's leaned back. But the Saturn had a manual rack. So, and there's no weight in this. It doesn't need a power rack. And so now I've got to start trimming away here a little bit. But basically, it's going to be pretty easy to hook my steering up. So that's it. My next step, I need to finish welding my front bumper cross member piece, and I'm going to have it powder coated because it's low to the ground, and it'll have the powder coating be more resilient to rock chips. But my pedal assembly used to set in here, and my knees were always bent, and I cut out this firewall section, and I'm moving my pedal assembly forward here so I can stretch out my legs because I want to start driving this more. Since 2019, I've put, I don't know, maybe 1,500, 1,900 miles on it, somewhere around there. I know for sure not 2,000, but I want it on the road, and possibly, if I do go to the SEMA show, even as a spectator, I'll probably drive this out there. So, in the meantime, for this week, I just want to kind of get it buttoned back up and take it to the Eureka Springs Volkswagen show, and which is not going to be completely done, but I want to get it there. And another thing, I was scheduled to have the car wrapped next week, and I'm going to have to push that back. So if I go to the Volkswagen show, it'll be in primer, but I'm planning on driving it over there. Anyway, so yeah, I talk a lot. And I'm thankful for those of you guys that follow me. And I know I don't always reply to comments. I get kind of quiet. But I'll try to be better at that. And thanks for watching. And please feel free to share it and like it and you know, subscribe or follow me or just like whatever. And maybe I can start being more consistent about my posts. So thanks for watching, and you guys have a great day and stay cool.